Your brain did not evolve to make you rich. That might sound dramatic, but it's one of the most important truths you will ever understand about money. The human brain evolved to survive short-term threats, not to build long-term wealth. Every instinct you have around spending, saving, risk, comfort, fear, and reward was shaped thousands of years ago in an environment where survival today mattered far more than prosperity tomorrow. And that mismatch between ancient wiring and modern financial systems is the silent reason so many intelligent, hardworking people keep losing money without fully understanding why. You can read every personal finance book ever written. You can understand compound interest, investing, budgeting, and wealth creation at a logical level. But if your brain's default programming remains untouched, you will still sabotage yourself in subtle ways. You'll delay starting. You'll panic at the wrong moments. You'll chase comfort instead of progress. You'll repeat the same mistakes with different justifications. And you'll wonder why it feels like money keeps slipping through your fingers no matter how much you learn. This is not a motivation problem. It's not a discipline problem. It's a neurological problem. Your brain is running software that was never designed for modern money decisions, and unless you deliberately reprogram it, that software will keep making choices that feel emotionally correct but financially destructive. To understand how to fix this, you first need to understand how deeply money decisions are tied to your brain's survival systems. When early humans encountered uncertainty, the goal was simple: avoid loss, secure resources, and reduce risk immediately. Delayed rewards were dangerous. Saving for later made no sense if later was never guaranteed. The brain learned to prioritize certainty, familiarity, and immediate payoff. Those instincts are still alive inside you today. When you spend money on something that gives instant pleasure, your brain rewards you with dopamine. When you avoid investing because it feels uncertain, your brain rewards you with relief. When you keep money in cash instead of deploying it intelligently, your brain tells you you're being safe. These reactions feel natural because they are natural, but in a modern economy, they quietly destroy your financial future. One of the most damaging ways this shows up is through loss aversion. Research in behavioral economics shows that people feel the pain of losing money roughly twice as strongly as the pleasure of gaining the same amount. This means your brain is wired to avoid losses at all costs, even when taking small, calculated risks is essential for long-term growth. This is why so many people panic during market downturns, sell at the worst possible times, and then hesitate to re-enter once prices recover. Their brains are screaming danger, even when the data says opportunity. Another deeply ingrained bias is present bias, the tendency to value immediate rewards more than future ones. Your brain heavily discounts the future because, evolutionarily speaking, the future was uncertain. This is why saving money feels like deprivation instead of progress. It's why investing feels boring compared to spending. It's why building wealth feels slow and unrewarding in the moment, even though it transforms your life over time. Your brain does not intuitively understand exponential growth. Compound interest is mathematically simple but neurologically abstract. Your brain prefers linear thinking. It sees small gains as insignificant and delayed rewards as irrelevant. That's why skipping a £50 investment today feels harmless, even though doing that consistently costs you hundreds of thousands over decades. Your brain literally cannot feel the future consequences in a meaningful way. Then there's the comfort trap. Your brain loves familiarity. It equates familiar patterns with safety, even if those patterns are harmful. This is why people stay stuck in financial situations they dislike: overspending, under-earning, avoiding investing, living paycheck to paycheck. These patterns become normal, and once something becomes normal, your brain stops questioning it. Breaking out of that comfort zone feels dangerous, even when the danger is imaginary. Scarcity mindset further intensifies this problem. When your brain perceives scarcity, real or imagined, it narrows your thinking. You become short-sighted. You focus on immediate relief instead of strategic planning. This is why financial stress often leads to worse financial decisions, not better ones. When money feels tight, people are more likely to take high-interest debt, gamble on risky opportunities, or abandon long-term plans. Their brains are operating in survival mode, not growth mode. Modern financial systems exploit these weaknesses perfectly. Credit cards, buy now, pay later schemes, constant advertising, social comparison through social media. All of these are designed to trigger your brain's reward and fear circuits. They turn spending into emotional regulation. Feeling stressed? Buy something. Feeling insecure? Upgrade something. Feeling behind? Chase something risky. None of this happens consciously. It happens automatically, beneath awareness. Even investing decisions are heavily emotional. Fear of missing out drives people into bubbles. Fear of loss drives people out at the bottom. Overconfidence after wins leads to excessive risk. After losses, people either freeze or revenge trade. At every stage, the brain is reacting, not reasoning. Logic is present, but it's often overridden by emotion before it has a chance to act. So if your brain is hardwired this way, what does reprogramming actually mean? It does not mean suppressing emotion, it does not mean becoming robotic, and it does not mean willpower. Willpower is unreliable because it also lives in the brain systems that get depleted under stress. Reprogramming means changing the environment, habits, and feedback loops your brain responds to so that better financial behavior becomes automatic. The first step is awareness without self-judgment. Many people shame themselves for past financial mistakes. That shame reinforces avoidance. Avoidance prevents learning. Instead, you need to see your past behavior as predictable outcomes of human wiring interacting with modern systems. Once you remove moral judgment, you gain clarity. You're not bad with money, you're human with money. The second step is slowing down financial decisions. Speed amplifies emotional responses. The faster you decide, the more your primitive brain dominates. Creating friction between impulse and action gives your rational brain time to engage. This can be as simple as a 24-hour rule for non-essential purchases, or a mandatory cooling-off period before major financial moves. Over time, this retrains your brain to associate patience with safety. Next comes reframing delayed rewards. Your brain needs immediate feedback to stay engaged. One way to do this is by making progress visible. Tracking net worth, investment growth, or debt reduction gives your brain small wins it can actually feel. Instead of waiting years to see results, you give your brain proof that its actions matter now. This builds motivation and reinforces consistency. Another powerful tool is automation. When good financial decisions are automated, they bypass emotional resistance entirely. Automatic investing, automatic saving, automatic bill payments, these remove the need for daily discipline. Your brain doesn't have to choose. The system chooses for you. Over time, what once felt uncomfortable becomes normal. Language also matters more than most people realize. The way you talk to yourself about money shapes how your brain categorizes it. If saving feels like losing freedom, you will resist it. If investing feels like gambling, you will fear it. Reframing these concepts as buying future security, purchasing time, or reducing future stress changes the emotional response. Your brain reacts to stories, not spreadsheets. Exposure therapy plays a role too. Gradually increasing your comfort with financial uncertainty builds tolerance. Starting with small investments, learning to sit through minor fluctuations, and resisting the urge to constantly check balances helps desensitize fear responses. Over time, volatility stops feeling like danger and starts feeling like noise. Education alone is not enough, but targeted education helps when paired with action. Learning why markets fluctuate, how risk actually works, and how probabilities play out over time gives your rational brain ammunition. The goal is not to eliminate fear, but to contextualize it. Fear without context leads to paralysis. Fear with understanding leads to caution without panic. Identity is another overlooked factor. People act in alignment with who they believe they are. If you see yourself as bad with money, your brain will unconsciously seek evidence to confirm that belief. Changing identity precedes changing behavior. When you start identifying as someone who learns, improves, and plans financially, your decisions shift naturally. You stop asking, "Can I afford this?" and start asking, "Does this align with who I'm becoming?" Social environment matters more than individual effort. Your brain is highly sensitive to norms. If everyone around you overspends, avoids investing, or treats money as a source of stress, that becomes your baseline. Curating your information diet and social influences subtly rewires expectations. Exposure to people who normalize saving, investing, patience, and long-term thinking resets what feels normal. One of the most effective reprogramming techniques is delayed gratification training. This doesn't mean extreme deprivation. It means intentionally choosing small delays and rewarding yourself for them. Waiting before purchases, letting investments run, sticking to plans through discomfort. Each successful delay strengthens neural pathways associated with self-control and future orientation. Stress management is also financial management. Chronic stress keeps your brain in threat mode, making good decisions nearly impossible. Sleep, exercise, and mental health are not separate from money outcomes. They directly affect risk perception, impulse control, and decision quality. A regulated nervous system makes better financial choices by default. Understanding that setbacks are part of the process is crucial. Your brain is pattern-driven. One mistake can trigger all or nothing thinking. Missing a savings goal leads to giving up entirely. A bad investment leads to abandoning investing. Reprogramming means treating mistakes as data, not identity. Each error becomes feedback, not failure. Over time, these changes compound. Your brain begins to associate long-term thinking with safety instead of danger. Delayed rewards feel meaningful. Volatility feels manageable. Progress feels real. You stop fighting yourself and start working with your biology instead of against it. The most important shift is moving from reactive money behavior to intentional systems. Reactive behavior responds to emotions, headlines, and short-term fluctuations. Intentional systems operate regardless of mood. They turn financial success into a process, not a personality trait. This is why two people with the same income can end up in radically different financial positions. One is constantly battling their brain. The other has designed systems that guide it. Intelligence matters far less than environment and structure. Reprogramming your brain for money is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming consistent. Small, repeated decisions made under low emotional stress outperform dramatic moves driven by excitement or fear. Wealth is built quietly, boringly, and predictably. Your brain resists this at first because boredom feels unsafe, but boredom is where stability lives. When you look back years from now, the biggest shift won't be how much you learned. It will be how differently money feels. Less emotional, less urgent, less controlling, more like a tool than a threat, more like a system than a struggle. Your brain may be hardwired to lose money, but wiring is not destiny. Neuroplasticity means patterns can change, habits can be reshaped, instincts can be redirected, not through force, but through design.